Hi, I'm Jesse Hilbert.
Hi, I'm Charlie Herbert.
And welcome
to Arnavon
Adventures.
Adventure.
This is season
2,
episode
4.
The Insect Nobody Wants.
Nobody loves.
Nobody loves them, that's right. Today's arthropod is one that most people are terrified to find in their house. It can send people screaming away. And Charlie, they might even survive a nuclear explosion.
Ew.
Tell them, can you guess what it is? So Charlie, today's episode brings us to the world of the American cockroach. Can you say that?
American cockroach.
Yeah. Now, their numbers are many, but in today's episode, we will focus on the American variety, just because there's so many different species. But with so many different species, it's only a matter of time, Charlie, until we talk about all of them. So, Charlie, today's episode is dedicated to your uncle, Uncle Rai, because, well, he requested that we do the North American cockroach. Say thank you for listening, Uncle Rai.
Thank you, Mr. for Uncle Rai.
Yeah, and tell anybody else. If there's an arthropod you want to hear, just tell us. Go ahead, tell them. Coo. No, you gotta say, just tell us what you want to do.
Tell us what you want to do.
All right, now, Charlie.
Any arthropod you can do.
Yeah, that's right. We'll do anyone that people want.
We can do, like, Charlotte.
Yeah, we can ask Charlie if she wants one. So, Charlie.
We can do Kelly also.
Yeah. So, the scientific name is Periplaneta. Try that one.
Periplaneta.
That's pretty good. Americana.
Americana.
Their genus, Periplaneta, comes from an ancient Greek word peri, which means roundabout or all around, and planetas, meaning wanderer. So technically, their name means all around wanderer. Well, and Charlie, cockroaches, they love to scatter, so it kind of makes sense. And its species name, Americana, just means that it comes from or referring to America. Now, this is where it gets interesting, Charlie, okay? It's called the American cockroach. Do you know where it's from? Take a guess. Do you think it's from America? No, you're right, it's not. It's from Africa. And it probably came here in the early part of the 17th century. Now, Charlie, one of my valuable resources for this episode was the University of Florida's Feature Creature article. And these are fascinating. They're in the show notes. And I use them for almost all of my episodes. And this one was written by Catherine Barbera. So according to this article, the American cockroach is second. Yes, it's second in abundance, which means there's more American cockroaches. Only the German cockroach has more. And the American cockroach has been able to get across so much of the earth due to commerce.
Because it's up in the earth.
Yeah, it's up in the earth.
The sky.
No, not in the sky. They're on the ground. They're on the ground. Hopefully not in our house. Now, the shipping of goods around the world, this is commerce, and this is how the cockroach initially spread around. And Charlie, you want to know what they're really good at doing? Making babies. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Now, Charlie, the cockroach loves warm, high humidity areas, kind of like it is at summertime here in Connecticut.
Yeah, but it's not. We're going to.
We're going to Vermont later, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to Vermont on Sunday.
Yeah. So now, Charlie, when you find these in our house, well, not in our house, hopefully, let's knock on wood, but when people find them in their houses, they find them a lot in the basement or around a water source, like a sink or sewer pipes. And that's because that's where they love to be when they're inside. And even though they're an inside pest, we actually find them all the time outside. And
we find Jupiter.
We found Jupiter outside. And
Orion's belt.
And Orion's belt. Now, can we get back to the cockroach? Okay. So when they're outside, they like to be under wood or leaves and rocks because that's where it's really damp and moist, okay?
Yeah, and bears live under caves.
Some bears live in caves. All right, so you want to talk about their bodies now?
Yeah.
All right, so their bodies have evolved to be great at finding their way into tight spaces. They have flattened, which means like this. Flattened, it looks like it had been squished.
Yeah.
And and they're reddish or brownish. And if you've listened to the podcast in the past, I hope you remember that insects have 3 body parts. Charlie, ready? Head,
Yeah.
thorax,
Yeah.
abdomen. Say it. Head,
Thorax?
head.
I can say it. I can say it.
Okay.
Thorax.
Head first.
Head.
Head.
Thorax. Echoes.
Abdomen.
Abdomen.
So these cockroaches can be about 2 inches long. That's about the size of 2 quarters put together.
It could be like a cat.
I hope not the size of a cat. That would be scary.
Yeah.
Now, the males are a little longer than the females, Charlie, because they have wings. Because they have wings that extend past their abdomen. So their wings are a little bit longer than the rest of their body. Now, also extending out from the back of their body is something called a cerci. They kind of just look like 2 short antennas, and they pop out from under their wings, and they sense vibrations. Do you remember what vibrations are? Right? It's when something shakes. And they allow the cockroach to be ready for any potential predators or would-be squishers. Now, Charlie, today's insect does not follow the typical egg, larva, pupa, adult life cycle.
Ew, pupa.
It's always my favorite word, too. But it doesn't do that. Instead, when they hatch from an egg, there's something called nymphs.
Nymphos.
No, nymphs.
Oh.
Yeah. Now, Charlie, I always explain nymphs like being a baby human, because a nymph looks just like a miniature version of its adult form, just like when you were a baby, or Jude, baby Jude, he just looks like a human, just really, really small, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when insects do this, it's called a simple metamorphosis. Okay? Now, after mating with the male, okay, the female will begin to drop a 1/4 inch long egg sacs that kind of resemble beans. And each one of these will contain about 15 eggs. And the female will oftentimes produce a glue that keeps them safe from moving around. And in an article by Penn State on the American cockroach, author Stephen Jacobs states that each capsule averages 14 to 16 eggs. Usually, 1 capsule is produced each week. Each female produces from 15 to 90 capsules. That's a lot of baby cockroaches, which is why when you see one, there's always more. Okay? Now, when they're a nymph, say nymph again. Go ahead.
Okay.
Say it.
When a nymph, they get it again.
Yeah, so when they're a nymph, they molt about 13 to 16 times until they become adults. It's kind of like you growing. Now, this can take 600 to 900 days. That's over 2 years
Like,
to become an adult.
yeah.
Yeah. And then once they reach adulthood, they can live for another 400 days. So these cockroaches can live 3 or 4 years. And to be honest, this was way longer than I was expecting, Charlie. But again, it tells you why you find them so much and in such great numbers, because they're just really good at surviving. In fact, Charlie, they can survive nuclear radioactivity 15 times higher than that of humans. Now, the diet of the cockroach is whatever it wants to do. So, Charlie, that means they eat human food, any scraps we find. That's why we got to clean up after ourselves, right? Yeah, and you should too at home. But they also are also cannibalistic. Say that word.
Cannibalistic.
That means they eat each other.
Eat each other.
They've even been recorded eating things like soap.
Like so.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Gross.
Yeah, we don't eat soap.
No.
No, thank you.
We wash our
We
hands.
wash our hands. That's right. Now, Charlie, the American cockroach is one arthropod that you do not want to find in your home or play with.
Yeah, because one, we found a mouse down here.
We did find a mouse in our house, yes.
And I threw it up in
You
the
did
air.
throw it up in the air. I'm glad the world will not know that.
Yeah.
Now, they are considered a human health problem, Charlie, due to the fact that they can transmit or carry diseases, and they can give those diseases to people.
Yeah, and also animals go in shells.
Some animals go in shells, yes. Now, these cockroaches, they have been found to carry over 20 different viruses and bacterias, as well as different helminthic worms, which I learned is a species of parasite and should be avoided at all costs. We might they're not an arthropod, but we might do some episodes on some annelids like worms, maybe as a special occasion. Now, I was also surprised, Charlie. You know how people are allergic to things? Well, Charlie, people can be allergic
Can I
to
just-
cockroaches.
Can I just say allergic?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, say it.
People are allergic to peanut butter.
Some people can be allergic to peanut butter. That's right. Now, these arthropods, people can be allergic to it, just like people can be allergic to their cousins, the crabs.
Yeah, I have a cousin.
You do have a
I
cousin.
have 2 cousins.
That's right.
One was seen on Sunday.
That's right. Okay, now these things also cause severe anxiety to humans who can be overwhelmed by an infestation or even just embarrassed that their house might have cockroaches in it. Now, there are many steps you could take to mitigate their advances into your home or to eliminate them from coming inside. The first of which would be making sure that your house has any cracks or damaged areas all sealed up, making it more difficult for them to enter. Because remember, I said they're very flat, so they can really squeeze in through some tight areas. Now, you also want to make sure that you're inspecting items that come into your house from somewhere else, because they're really good at hiding. And remember, the females can glue her eggs anywhere she wants. And since we're talking about being able to eat everything, be responsible for your garbage is another way to make sure that they stay away. Now, Charlie, there are, of course, chemicals that
We
can
put chemicals in our water.
in the pool water.
Yeah.
Yes. These are different chemicals that people use to get rid of insects and other things they don't want. They're called insecticides, and they're very dangerous for humans. And for the American cockroach, they make sprays and pellets and traps that can have that in it. But you just got to be careful because we don't want to play with that stuff.
No.
Now, Charlie, as with all creatures on Earth, I try to find the good or the benefit of having them on our planet. And I was intrigued to find a few benefits of the American cockroach outside of it being part of the food chain. So, Charlie, apparently they have these secretions that are used in cancer research and are even currently being used by cancer patients, being proven to have some anti-cancer agents within them. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. We're done with all the pages.
Now, Charlie, we're almost done with all the pages, right, of our show notes. And now,
like 2.
other scientists and doctors are really exploring the other health benefits that the cockroach can have. So, they might be gross and you don't want them in their homes. Remember, gross is an opinion, though. Not everyone thinks so.
Yeah.
And
We have stink bugs.
we do have stink bugs. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
Now,
Even in houses.
yes, they love houses. So, remember that they do have some importance. Now, Charlie, I could have talked forever about cockroaches in general and their ability to survive long periods of time without food or even their heads or, like I said before, their ability to survive radiation and even their expansive history that dates back millions of years. But I try to keep these episodes short, or we do, right? And so we're going to save that for an additional episode where we talk just about cockroaches in general and their history. It'll be our first History of Animal podcast. So, Charlie, the next time you stumble across the American cockroach, I am hopeful that you can find it outside of your home. And remember that if you do happen to find them in your home, that you need to do everything you can to get rid of them because they can pose a potential threat. Say thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.